Canada is known for its amazing lakes and rivers. But the aquatic species that live in our waterways face many challenges. These challenges affect the well-being of fish and many other aquatic species that depend on the health of these waterways. Most people realize that pollution, climate change, and industry have negatively impacted the health of our waterways. These threats combined have led to the extinction of 12 fish species in Canada. Many more are now endangered or threatened, including Atlantic and Pacific salmon. Another threat is habitat fragmentation. When streams and rivers become fragmented or blocked by human-made structures, it can be devastating to fish and other wildlife. These barriers can range in size from large hydroelectric dams to small pipes used under road construction. Anything that disrupts the natural flow of a waterway changes the natural processes of the ecosystem. Barriers prevent many fish species from reaching their spawning grounds. American eels are dying in hydroelectric dam turbines built in the path of their migratory route. Barriers are negatively affecting other wildlife like bears, sea lions, and birds that depend on these aquatic populations to survive. In addition, fish stocks, a critical food source for many humans, play important roles in the social and ceremonial ways of life for many Indigenous peoples. So, how big is this problem? The Canadian Aquatic Barriers Database, or the CABD, has been developed by the Canadian Wildlife Federation to understand the scope of the problem in Canada, and the findings are astounding. Canada has more than 30,000 dams, and only 250 of them include passageways to enable fish to get upstream past the structures. That's fewer than 1%. Most of these structures are between 50 and 100 years old and no longer serve the purpose they were originally built for.
Different life stages of fish need different types of habitat to survive, but barriers to fish passage break up aquatic systems, they isolate fish populations, and block access to critical spawning and rearing habitats. By removing some of the barriers to migration and restoring connections, fish species will have a better chance of persisting.
In 2022, Canada signed on to the Global Biodiversity Framework, which committed to protect and restore 30% of the land and water by 2030. Compared with other nations, Canada has made little progress, removing only 98 dams to date. Our country still does not have a national fish passage program or dedicated funding to deal with this massive issue. Meanwhile, the U.S. has embarked on the largest dam removal and river restoration project in its history. The European Union has committed significant resources to restore 25,000 kilometers of free-flowing rivers. In response to the absence of a national policy, the Canadian Wildlife Federation has collaborated with local conservation, government, and Indigenous groups to start chipping away at this mountain of a problem. In the past 5 years, CWF and our partners and funders have restored access to more than 3 million square meters of habitat at 25 different locations throughout BC. By opening waterways, we give these fish the best chance to find conditions suitable for their survival. Local and provincial organizations have stepped up with their time and resources to help mitigate the habitat loss. And now, we're making it easy for every Canadian to step up and get involved too.
Hundreds of thousands of barriers disconnect fish habitat. It's essential to reconnect those habitats and allow fish to move freely throughout them. We need to scale up efforts to fix past harm and stop habitat loss. We hope all Canadians will join the Canadian Wildlife Federation in this critical call to action.
For the sake of our fish, other affected species, and their habitat, we are urging every Canadian to sign our petition asking the Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada to establish a national fish passage program. This program will reconnect our rivers and streams as part of Canada's commitment to achieving the 2030 global biodiversity targets. If every Canadian signs the petition, it will strengthen our call for the federal government to protect aquatic species and habitat across the country. 98% of Canadians we surveyed agreed with protecting fish habitat. You can take action today. Make a positive impact on the survival of Canada's fish and other aquatic species that need our help. Sign the petition at stophabitatloss.org.